So this week we're continuing on from last week's theme of choosing a random business and going through repositioning them and seeing how that reflects in business. And just to note before we jump into this, we have not discussed with said business about what their specific situation is. So this is very much based on what we can see externally. The business for this week is turning green lawn and plant healthcare. So they're based in Connecticut, and the reason that we found them is because they place a LinkedIn ad. And so that means that they are actively trying to get customers, they're trying to garner further attention. So it's meaning that there's something going on and they're trying out new platforms. However, their ad in specific, there's some points that they can be improved. There's one line going, did you know that fall is the ideal time to set your lawn up for long-term success by focusing on core aeration, overseeding, slit seeding, and using drought-resistant grasses? You're not just reviving your turf, you're building a healthier, stronger lawn that can handle next year's challenges. So just in that one part of their ad, there are quite a few terms which can be pointed out as jargon. If you're a homeowner, you're not necessarily going to want to know about slit seeding. You're going to want to be focused on that end result. Let's look at their original positioning. From what we can see, it is yet another plant and lawn healthcare business, right? If you have a look at other businesses in that area, you can overlap the websites and wording will be very similar. So this is where we dig in. All right, if we have a look at the reviews, various websites, Google, there's mentions of them going out and developing a plan, them going out and taking a soil test and applying weed control based on that. So it's very personalized. So from that, I'm going to pose a fresh position, and that positioning is the plant and lawn consultants creating spaces so green that they become talking points, right? So the first part is very much in that personalization side. Every encounter should be focused about being those consultants, having those sit downs, talking through a plan. And the last part is talking to the ego, because we're always looking to the grass is greener on my side, right? So let's look at how this can be immediately actionable. On their website, first thing we can note is that they've used AI. And in this case, it's not something that's helping them. It's actually something that's distracting because it is an AI reading out testimonials. So you're automatically disconnecting from customers. In this case, use actual client videos. Have them have a conversation so you can see that there's been that relationship built up. Like, hey, you've had this experience with us. How do you feel about it? What was your most memorable moment? What were you worried about to begin with working with us? You've obviously had this lawn for some time beforehand. Have this conversation. Do before and after videos. And then with your team. So if we're thinking HR, if we're thinking training, focus on the consulting side of the exchange, making sure that they're spending time with clients, making sure that they're comfortable, they're aware. This is something to double down on from each part of the team, from sales, from customer service, to the team who are actually going there to change up the lawn, right? Then we're talking about the marketing side, right? Here, we want to remove all the jargon. This also applies to the team. Make sure that there's no jargon. Keep it super understandable, focusing on that end vision, focusing on that end feeling, on that ego. Hey, I want my lawn to look the best in this area. If my neighbors look over, it should be the better one. So this can be applied, and perfect thing for the lawn industry because it is so visual, to do walkarounds of the process. Plan exactly how to fix the lawns. Talk about it on the video, because at the end of the day, customers are going to come to you because of this. They're not going to go and do it themselves. Especially if you have acres of land going, okay, I don't want to deal with this. This is great that I can see that you're talking through your process because I know exactly what to expect. So you're showing during the process, you're showing the final product so people can follow in that journey. And you can bring up the common issues like what people have mentioned in their reviews as well, talking about their allergies and how they tackle them. These are things that people actually care about instead of the types of seedlings. If we go into the sales side, here we're planning out, what does this look like with you, right? You're having that sit down, again, leaning into that consultant side, leaning into making that end vision. We're planning with you. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about that centerpiece, right? And developing that according to their needs. Say, for example, if they have allergies, ask them what is going on specifically. So therefore, you immediately become associated to that positioning. Because at the end of the day, your position needs to be something that is applicable to how your operations run. Otherwise, it's just a pretty picture or pretty words. And finally, in terms of when you're doing PR, lean into the competitions because, again, the comparison, the ego. Think about like green themed events, even if it's not necessarily plant or lawn related. Now, that is this week's one. Let us know in the comments if there's other brand that you'd like to see us specifically reposition and operationalize.